Chapter 4. A case of visa denied. Bippo, the headmaster, receives a late-night call from Mrs. Ignatius, a parent of one of his students. Mrs. Ignatius is frantic because her husband, Mr. Ignatius, hasn't come home yet. Bippo is annoyed by the late call and tries to brush her off, but Mrs. Ignatius is insistent. As they talk, it becomes clear that Mr. I.B. Ignatius has been denied a visa to travel abroad because of DNA evidence that one of his child is not his. Mrs. Ignatius is worried and wants Bippo to help her figure out what to do next. Bippo is frustrated by the situation and feels like Mrs. Ignatius is relying too heavily on him to solve her problems. The conversation reveals Bippo's frustration with some parents who take advantage of his friendly nature. He feels like they expect him to be available 24/7 to deal with their personal problems. Bippo's tone suggests he's had to deal with similar situations before and is getting tired of it. Despite his frustration, Bippo tries to offer some advice and reassurance to Mrs. Ignatius. He suggests that she try to contact the embassy or a travel agent to see if there's anything else they can do to help IB get a visa. Mrs. Ignatius greatly loves the Java idea. She had learned tailoring and even how to do the Yoruba weaving. In Didi, she learned different hairstyles like Koju Soko, Shuku, Onile Guguru. She had even gone ahead to learn bridal designs, and she loved the Japa idea with her children and her husband. But when the visa has reached an advanced stage, they needed to conduct a DNA for her two children, a 15-year-old daughter, Favor, and her brother, Iyi. When the DNA test was conducted, Favor turned out not to be the daughter of her father, and her husband was so mad and told them to go ahead and live with the husband of Favor. But she tried to explain to her husband that she never cheated on him and she doesn't know what's going on. Even her son started asking her disturbing questions like, why did he deny us of our visa? What was the problem? Looks like her son has gone ahead to actually look up the reasons why family could actually be denied for a visa. While she was talking on the phone, Bippo was already tired of her nagging and all, and he was just thinking of his own experience that he would experience outside his work at Stardom Schools. Though as a principal in Stardom Schools, he has so many experience already, and he knows that this experience, even if the cultures abroad are different, this experience would at least help him to get by. While some parents are calm, nice and collected, some are very rude and nasty to teacher because they have money. And that made him to actually remember a particular incident with a teacher, Mr. Aye Soro, the government teacher. There was a particular parent, Mrs. Mary Ladele. She was relaxing on her sofa in her house. She was the type to always enjoy movies from Seaworld, but after she visited the cinema of recent, she fell in love with Nollywood movies again. And then she was watching movie in the sitting room after she had sent her children to bed. And even her last born is always the cranky one and always wanted to stay up, especially when her father was around. In the movie she was watching, which was a Nigerian movie, there was a doctor who wanted to perform a cesarean section on her best friend Bimbo. She was very excited about this. Mrs. Ladili that had an experience of what CS is. She was actually excited to actually watch it, and the fact was the producers showed the operation live, and that actually got her so thrilled. But unknowing to the doctor in the movie that the pregnancy that her friend is carrying actually belongs to her husband, slowly as the truth unfolded it was so scary and so painful for the doctor Ajayi in the movie that her best friend was actually pregnant for her husband. While Mrs. Ladili was actually engrossed with the movie she was watching, she had a loud scream from her children's room. It was BP, her last child. Her mother rushed into her room and said, what is going on? What is happening? Then she said, it is Mr. Owala, it is Mr. Owala. Then her siblings corroborated and said that it is Mr. Owala, their government teacher. The government teacher has the traditional Yoruba mark on his cheek, and that is a very derogatory statement for her to make. Few times that week, when she always saw the teacher at the basketball court, she always screamed and she was always scared of him, even if Mr. Ayesoro was the Blue House officer. Many times that week, BP's family could not sleep because she's always screaming at night, shouting Mr. Wala Wala. And the school was so scared that they were going to lose that parent away from their school to another school. So they had to transfer the teacher from the school to Stadium Hub, which is the property wings of Stadium Companies.